Hi guys, I'm going to do a broad notes here on steps to solving equations. So this is more advanced than what you're going to do the first day, but I want to give you all the steps at once. So what I'm writing here, I would write in notes, but as we talk about notes for the first time as well, you can write down anything else. So I'm writing it here, but if on the side you want to write other things that are helpful to you that you found helpful, if I'm writing things here, but you say like as a reminder, like I'm circling these because they're like terms, whatever it may be, write those things down for yourself. Notes are not just what the teacher writes on the board. If that's all it was, it wouldn't be very helpful. You have to make it useful to yourself as well. So when I start looking at your notes too, I'll look at things and say, was that even helpful to you? What else could you do to help yourself with that process? So again, more than just writing them down, make sure you're making it useful to yourself. So when we talk about steps to solving equations, this is my 5-step process, and it works every time. It's magical. The first thing you want to do, if you have parentheses, I want you to distribute. Okay. Now, the other nice thing that you have here with the notes, I'm just going to give one tip. You can pause because this is a video too. So if you need a second to write it down more, make sure you pause, write it down as we go along. So I'm going to do that here, and I like to show markings when we do everything. I'm also going to put a line down the equal, so that's my divider of the equation. Keep it balanced. So I'm just going to do that one step first. So I get 3x. 3 times negative 2 is 6. Everything else is just going to drop down, including the equal sign. So I'm not going to combine 2 steps in one. Some of you might say, I know what to do next. Can I do it all at once? I'd recommend separating those steps. It limits your mistakes. It might take you 5 seconds longer, but it'll probably cost you 5 points on the test if you try to go fast. Second thing to do is combine like terms on each side of the equation. So like terms only work. This is where this nice little line here helps us out. I can only combine like terms on this side, and I can only combine like terms on that side. So this is what we're doing in class today. So I like to underline or circle. I have 3x plus 2x. So 3x plus 2x gives me 5x. And then on this side, I have negative 6 and 1. Negative 6 plus 1 gives me a minus 5. Now notice, it's going to take one step back. 3x and 2x, I didn't go over here with the 4x and 3x and combine it. That's on the other side of the equation. I need to do that separately. So now I'm going to do that. 4x minus 3x is 1x or just x. Now that is your choice. I know a lot of you have been taught to write the 1 in there. That's really up to you if you want to put it in there with it. Okay, so that's step 2. We distributed. Now we combine like terms. The third thing is if I have variables on both sides. So focus on the variables. So if you have variables on both sides, add or subtract the smaller of the 2 variables. So if you have variables on both sides, which we do here of the equation, 5x and 1x, you're going to add or subtract the smaller of the 2. So in this case, 5x and 1x. 1x is clearly smaller. Now, the reason I do the smaller one, could you move 5x over? Sure, but you're going to get a negative. I'm trying to avoid negatives. So my process here is to try to eliminate as many mistakes, as I can. So in this case, since we always do the opposite, this is positive 1x, I want to subtract 1x from both sides. So I just worked out 5x minus 1x is 4x. The minus 5 I bring down. If some of you want to draw an arrow, bring it down. This x is gone. 1x minus 1x is 0. And then I have a plus 7. So now I have variables on one side. This is really going to be your starting point for tomorrow when we do some problems in class. They're going to be 2-step equations. But I want to give you that whole process first because I know you've done some of it as well. Okay? 4th step. We want to isolate the term with the variable by, again, adding or subtracting the constant. So in this case, I want to isolate 4x, get it all on a side by itself. So the constant is -5. Constant is that term, it doesn't change. There's no variable in it. It doesn't vary. It is always -5. So I do the opposite again. -5, opposite is +5. What we do to one side, we always do to the other. Again, I like that visual barrier. So when some people say like, well, I'm a visual learner. I seriously had a kid tell me this once. They were like, well, I'm a visual learner. I'm like, all these things are visual. The arches, the arrow down, the line, they're visual cues for you. They're like, no, like when I put pictures up there. I'm like you want a picture of a cat? Yeah, that helps me. No, that's not a visual learner. I have no words for that. I do, but I can't say them. So I move that over and I have that barrier. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So here, the 5's cancel out. I get 4x equals 7 plus 5 is 12. Now I want to finish this out. My fifth and final step is I am going to multiply. I'm going to write these out instead of using symbols so we don't confuse it with x, or divide to get the variable alone. So in this case, 4 and x, you want to put the dot in there to remind you they're attached by multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I divide both sides by 4, and I end up with x is equal to 3. Foolproof. So you may not start always at the first step. We're going to start sometimes at step 4 for some of the problems that we do. So homework, or not problem, I got to get used to homework is this. You're going to take notes and watch me. Your classwork, you're going to look at a problem like 7x minus 8 equals 15 and have to solve a problem like that. So I don't have step 1. There are no parentheses. So I move to step 2, combine like terms. No like terms, because remember, it has to be on that side of the equal sign. Sometimes I say, all right, cover it up. Is there anything like terms on this side? Nope. Any like terms on that side? No, it's just one term. Are there variables on both sides? Nope, there's only one x here. So really, I'm starting at step 4. Move the constant. -8, the opposite function is +8 to both sides of that line. So I get 7x equals 15 plus 8 is 23. Okay, I had that right? Yep, just want to double check. Now, some of you stop here sometimes. I purposely picked one that I knew was going to be a fraction. They say, oh, I get a fraction. Don't hate on fractions. It's okay. Yes, if you put this in your calculator, you're going to get some weird repeated decimal. We are good with a simplified improper fraction as your final answer. So x equals 23 over 7. Perfect. Why is it simplified? Well, check. The smallest of these is 7. Does 7 go into 23? No. Do the factors of 7 go into 23? Well, 7 is a prime number. Only 7 and 1 go into it. So no, they don't go into it as well. So my answer is just 23 over 7. Could you write it as a mixed number? Sure. 7 goes into 23 3 times. There is 2 left over. So you could put 3 and 2 sevenths. What do we really not want to see as an answer? A decimal. Because most of you, this would be a repeating decimal. You write it and you put whatever it is. I don't have my calculator right in front of me, 3.3 something, and you don't put the repeated part. So write them as fractions. Either one of those two would be acceptable. Okay? So going back, this is really your 5-step process. A lot of the other notes for this are going to be revolving back to this. All right, what step are we on? Did I start at the beginning and go down? If you're someone who says, you know what, I'm not great at solving problems, go through the steps one by one. Okay, have the notes next to you. Just had a conversation with my daughter about it, and I don't know that I mentioned you guys this. I think I might have mentioned it in my Flipgrid video. Being fast at math doesn't mean you're good at math. Take your time to get the answers. Yes, there are times where I have to give you a test or quiz and it's timed, but I'm also very respectful of how much time is that. You can't have all day to do it, but I'm not going to say, hey, do this problem in 30 seconds, go. It's not a race, but yes, we do have constraints just because we only have 40 minutes in class to do things. So get these 5 steps. This should be your first steps for your notes. Like we said, write extra things down if you want to. If I said something little in here, like you got to remember to do the opposite function. This is -5. I did the opposite here. Write that in there for right now. These are your notes to be beneficial to you, so make them beneficial to you.